It's cold and windy along the shores of Lake Michigan, but the beach remains a popular attraction. News Channel 3's Chris Yu tells us some winter hazards to watch out for.
Trisha, one way to stay safe here at South Beach in South Haven is to avoid the pier entirely. That's because it's covered by a thick layer of ice. I'm going to take a chunk of snow and slide it along the ice here to give you an idea of just how slick the pier is. You can see how fast and far that a piece of snow traveled. But it's not just the pier that is iced over. Take a look at the water beside me here. It is iced over as well. I'm going to take this chunk of snow and throw it down there just to give you an idea. You can see just a solid sheet of ice here on Lake Michigan. Now, experts say just like the pier, the ice that's forming along the shoreline can be dangerous as well. Whether it's by air or on the ground, people continue to enjoy South Beach in South Haven. But with so much ice on the pier, experts say it's best to steer clear.
On average, over the last 6 years, there's been 101 Great Lakes drownings per year. Almost half of those happen around piers.
Despite the icy pier, we saw many people walking on it and slipping too. Dave Benjamin, executive director of the nonprofit Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project, says that could put those around you at risk.
Spouse, children, first responders if they have to come to attempt to rescue.
But it's not just the pier that should be avoided. Benjamin urges people not to cross the ice on the water.
Because there's currents there, that ice is going to be less stable. And if you were to fall through, that current just might pull you right under. And then there is no rescue. There's no rescue for that situation. It's hopefully they find you in the springtime.
This video shows a man falling through shelf ice at Loyola Beach in Chicago. Benjamin says although ice along the shoreline might be tempting to explore, it could also trap you.
The most dangerous is people say, hey, there's a hill, let's go climb it. And at the top of this hill may be the thinnest part of this ice mound. And if somebody were to fall through, they might not be visible, by someone on the beach.
The Great Lakes Surf Project says last year there were 98 drownings in the Great Lakes and about half were in Lake Michigan. South Haven recently passed an ordinance that fines people $1,000 if they venture onto the pier or into the waters when they're closed during dangerous conditions.
New tourism data shows Kalamazoo County had a record year for hotel rooms sold in 2021. News Channel 3's Maria Serrano tells us what the new numbers hint at and what are the top most visited places in the county.
Downtown Kalamazoo takes the cake at a solid first place. The second most visited place in Kalamazoo County is Western Michigan University. This synchronized figure skating championship is bringing visitors and contestants to Kalamazoo. For some contestants, visiting Kalamazoo has even become a tradition.
This is my fourth time competing here.
Discover Kalamazoo says when visitors come to the county for events like this,
there's about 4,000 ice skaters here in Kalamazoo County.
Or for leisure travel, less than a quarter of their spending is on lodging.
Most of their spend is at our restaurants and our bars and at our phenomenal attractions and at our retail shops. But we know that there's pent-up demand for people to go out and see their friends and family, to visit places that they haven't been. And the fact that we're a road trip destination really helps us, especially for those visitors who are concerned about flying.
To add to that, Discover Kalamazoo says hotel rooms sold in our area were up 60% over 2020 and 8% higher than 2019, which had been our highest year prior to the pandemic.
What does this mean for Discover Kalamazoo, but more importantly, the city of Kalamazoo and the county?
Phenomenal economic impact for Kalamazoo County.
Back at the ice rink, Janie Moore says the only time she comes to Kalamazoo is to compete in her craft.
Kalamazoo is just a really fun place because there's such a huge skating community, so we love coming out here.
Discover Kalamazoo says the #1 source of visitors in the county in 2021 was Detroit and then Chicago. In downtown Kalamazoo, Maria Serrano, News Channel 3.
Here's a list of hotel rooms sold in Kalamazoo County. In 2021, 786,935 rooms were sold. In 2020, 494,697 were sold. The year before, Kalamazoo sold 726,655. Discover Kalamazoo says 2019 was the previous best year pre-pandemic. Discover Kalamazoo is updating its 269 cool things to do list right now and wants to know your favorite things to do here in Kalamazoo. If you're a resident, past visitor, or a business owner, the agency is encouraging others to share their ideas on the coolest things to do in area code 269. We asked Discover Kalamazoo what their most common answers in the survey have been so far.
Doing some wine sampling, biking and hiking around the Fort Custer State Recreation area, doing some camping and glamping.
Attending a show or class at the Barn Theater School over in Augusta is also a big favorite, and going to visit South Haven. You have until Monday to share your ideas. The annual travel guide will be coming out at the end of April. Bronson Hospital is hosting an event to honor those who lost their lives to COVID-19 and the healthcare workers who took care of them. According to the latest state data, more than 32,000 people in Michigan have died due to the virus. News Channel 3's Amira Austin tells us how you too can honor the lives lost and participate in the event.
Bronson Hospital is inviting the community to join them for a vigil in remembrance of those impacted by COVID-19. The event will be held virtually in a couple weeks. However, the community can go online right now to bronsonvirtualvigil.com to light a virtual candle or share a message. A candle for those who have died, one for those who are grieving, another for those who took care of them.
Just looking at those early comments that are out there, it's just so touching.
The virtual vigil is being put on by the hospital's Healing Steps Forward task force for staff to come together with the community to grieve, provide support, and start to heal.
This gives us a way to share openly in a safe way and to let families know that we're still thinking of them.
Alessia Lewandowski is a nurse in the intensive care unit at Bronson. She says it's been hard not being able to build the same types of relationships with patients and their families.
Having the mask and the face shields and the gowns and everything on and gloves, they feel even more isolated.
The co-chair of the task force, Dr. Melissa Davidson, says Bronson's hospitalizations are slightly down this week, but they are cautiously optimistic as the Omicron variant continues to spread.
So we are still seeing terrible losses, people in the hospital and dying at very young ages.
Davidson says Bronson is experiencing staff turnover and burnout, as well as staff being out due to testing positive for COVID-19. The task force is providing meals, on-site counseling, and emotional support dogs to better support staff and boost morale.
Nursing staff that is all geared up in their protective equipment, sometimes they can't even get breaks to get to the cafeteria, so we've been trying to periodically bring meals to the units to make that easier for staff.
The vigil ceremony will include a poem, music, a video, and thoughts shared by staff and community members.
This page will be up for a couple of months, we're hoping, so that people can continue to hold those lost in our hearts and really just share together in this grief of how our lives have changed.
The live virtual vigil will be held Tuesday, February 15th at 7:30 p.m. If you would like to light a virtual candle or share a message, we put a link to the vigil in this story on our website, WWMT.com.